in a study on the toponymic systems of ancient Egypt, initiated in 2012 by several renowned Western universities. Researchers in ancient Egyptian, Greek, Coptic, and Arabic were asked to try to provide answers to the meaning of the place names of ancient Egypt. 12 years have passed, and no approach has come to provide an answer to this research work. This lack of results is explained, in our opinion, mainly by the non-invitation of researchers in the Berber language. The fascinating civilization of pharaonic Egypt has interested generations of historians, archaeologists, and astronomers since antiquity. This interest has not waned today, since the greatest universities in the Western world, such as Harvard, Yale, Pennsylvania, Cambridge, Oxford, Manchester, that's in the United Kingdom, Paris, Sorbonne, Montpellier, Turin, and Toronto. So all these universities have chairs of Egyptology where the different aspects of the civilization of this country are studied, whose inhabitants define themselves since time immemorial to this day as being Mesra. That is to say, in Berber, the sons of the divinity Ra. In terms of archaeology, we can see that the origin of this civilization has given rise to different interpretations as to the origin of the populations who occupied the Nile Valley. The majority of historians have maintained that the human source came from the east, while others they make a link between ancient Egypt and the Berber world by evoking the old belief of the cult of the ram, a spheroid, so that's for Gabriel Germain, and the location of the Atlantic to the Red Sea of more than 6,000 Berber rock sites that were mentioned by researchers Yves and Christine Borfia. Despite these archaeological indicators, almost all historians and Egyptologists have erected a dramatic wall between ancient Egypt and the Berber world by drawing an imaginary border passing through the Berber oases of Siwar and Kara, which are located approximately 400 and 500 kilometers west of the Nile. In a work entitled The Berber Epic, From Prehistoric Years to the Builders of the Pyramids, the author khelifa mahieddine gives a new vision of the history of the Amazigh. He maintains that tribes of hunter-gatherers migrated to the east, appropriated the great waterway by naming it Nile. Nile, it is written N'-il, which is the diminutive of Nath, that is to say, those of the river, not without having first given a name to the body of water located to the south, which means in Berber, they drank, in memory of the Issyanouen River, located in Algeria, which they had been forced to leave following the serious climatic crises that occurred towards the end of the Paleolithic. In support of his hypothesis, khelifa mahieddine cites the German researcher Sedlmayr, who places the origins of the settlement of Egypt at the beginning of the Paleolithic. So I quote him. The discovery of stone tools in the Nile Valley places the traces of human settlement at the beginning of the Paleolithic. At that time, Egypt did not present the traits of a singular culture. We have to wait until the final Paleolithic period between 25,000 and 10,000 years before Jesus Christ to find the first evidence of it, a period of extreme drought. Then led the hunter-gatherers who roamed the savannas of the Sahara to join the river's watercourse, still weak and irregular, to find their subsistence there. And I close the quotation marks. So we have seen the origin of the Egyptian settlement on the archaeological level, and now we are going to see it on the etymological and linguistic level. The occupation of the Nile Valley by its Berber tribes has left indelible traces in the toponyms of these places. So true is it that it is commonly accepted that the appellations of origin of the names of places or watercourses generally refer to the identity of their population. Indeed, the name of a place name that permanently fixes a specific geographical area, whether it is a mountain, a hill, a plain, or a watercourse. Over time, it constitutes a historical witness to our past. The toponym transcends time and refers to the first occupants of the place. In their popular language, the Egyptians define themselves to this day as Misrar. However, this name is not specific to Egypt, since it is originally found in Algeria or in the Bleeder Atlas near the region of Buenin. The Hittite Messer tribe has lived since the earliest times, like the commonly named Messer, near Mostaganem. If for the term mis, the meaning is obvious for a Berber speaker, the diminutive rar, the gh, rar being swallowed, is less obvious. Rar is the diminutive of the word eura, which always means yellow, blonde, golden, and by extension sparkling in Berber. It is also the first name that was borne by the Berber Saint Augustine, and which gave in Latin the first name Laurelian, which has the same meaning. The similarity with the Berber toponym does not stop there. The name of the great river Nile also refers to Algeria, where a wadi flows near Jijil with the same name. The apostrophe n is the pronoun of belonging that we find in the north as in the south of the Maghreb and central Sahara, like Ajer in Gerger, which was francized in Gerjura, Tassili in Ajer, etc. The word island, as for it, designates the watercourse or the river. It should also be noted that the oleander is called Ilale in Berber, in which we find the root island. Since this plant grows naturally on the banks of waterways. In Egyptian cosmogony, water was elevated to the rank of god called Armen, which literally means the waters. This explains the fact that the Nile was also called Yithro, which in Berber means he cries. Because when the god Armen cries, these tears flow in an uninterrupted stream. For those who might be tempted to think that this is a coincidence, we note other names with Berber meanings and consonances. Thus, the city of Tinis, which was the capital of the first pharaonic dynasty, is a Greek deformation of Tanis, which is located in Algeria. Or Tunis, which is the capital of Tunisia, which still means in Berber camp or bivouac. The first pharaoh of this dynasty was called Menes. Since vowels do not exist in hieroglyphic writing, it is the Greek deformation of Armen, or owner of the waters. This name is also found in the Algerian Sahara, in the place called Hinamnes. That's not all. The third pharaoh of this same dynasty was called Jer, which means great giant. This name is still found in Algeria, in Adrar, in Gerger, or Adjar, south of Algiers, as in Tassili and Adjar, where the word Amjar exists. Literally like a giant. Not having forgotten their origins, these hunter-gatherer tribes even gave the name of Mizrata to a place called, which over time became a city located 40 kilometers south of Cairo, not far from the pyramid attributed to Amenhotep Roman IV. This name is a derivative of the word Amazigh, which is also found in Algeria in the forest of Mesner near Tablat, and also near Algiers, where the Nath Mesner tribe lived or rather resided. And even we have Mizrana in Kabylie. Memphis was one of the most important cities in the history of ancient Egypt. It is the Greek deformation of Amenfer, which means in Berber, sheltered from the waters. Mahieddine, who was the priest historian of the pharaonic dynasties, relates that this city was founded by the pharaoh Amazigh, who demanded that his capital be built sheltered from the waters of the Nile around 3000 BC. The meaning of Armen translates to waters, and Urfer means hidden, and by extension protected. Said Ifri Tafreadui, Efrender, that is to say they hid there, who are in Algeria, Ifrin and Yefrin in Morocco and in Libya, are derivatives of the word Afar, which all refer to the cave which naturally constitutes a shelter. Francis Roman II wanted to reconstitute in the north, in the delta of an island, the southern Thebes, a city of temples where the Egyptians went on pilgrimage to wash away their sins. This word Thebes, this city Thebes, is at the origin of the word Thebes in Arabic. At least that is our hypothesis. The place chosen for this new city was called Tanis, which is the Greek deformation of Tanis, which must have been an ancient camp to have kept this name. This city was the cradle of the kings of the Roman 21 dynasty, and its name is mentioned in the Bible in the Epsom verses Roman 12 to Roman 14 for having been the place of the miracles of Moses. Over time, Tanis silted up, which led to its decline. It was therefore abandoned and took the name of Janet, which means abandoned in Berber, as was our Janet in Algeria following the serious climatic crises. If we are to believe certain Egyptologists fond of legends, the name of Egypt, Egyptos, is linked to the myth of King Egyptos, son of Belos and Antenor, who is said to have conquered the territory and given his name to the country. But the reality is quite different. The ancient city of Gaitu, built 40 kilometers north of Thebes, became Coptos over time when Greek civilization took over. It is from the name of Gaitu, distorted into Egyptos by the Greeks, that we find the origin of the name of this country, while its inhabitants have always defined themselves as being Mesra. This city of Coptos sheltered many forgotten careerists, stonemasons and craftsmen. This particularity contributed to its reputation because its workforce was in high demand in the north as in the south. Egyptologists have made the inhabitants of this ancient city of Coptos an ethnic particularity, having a different language, when this is not the case insofar as the linguistic substrate of ancient Egypt is of Berber origin. Orientalists and Western Egyptologists have made the Copts a separate human group, mainly due to their conversion to Christianity, as was the case for the Arameans in the Arabian Peninsula. While Jesus Christ, during his crucifixion, uttered this phrase, "Allah, martyrs of Atarni," literally, "Allah, why did you precede me, that there be pure Arabic?" And so this phrase, Allah Elamator Sabat Farmi, you can find it in the Gospel according to Matthew, Psalm 27:46. It is notable to note that no less than 40 pharaohs, all dynasties combined, had the word Armen as a prefix or suffix to their name. In their collective memory, the Misra had not forgotten that their migration was caused by a water problem. Hence the importance of the word Armen and not Amen. Moreover, during the exodus to the land of Canaan, occurring around 1350 BC, the prophet Moses asked his faithful to punctuate his prayers with the Berber word Armen. This explains the very strong relationship of the three monotheistic religions with water, which has been sacralized to the point where the word Armen has taken on several meanings. Water, faith, belief, trust, protection. And it is this word that punctuates the prayers of more than 5 billion believers around the world. Egyptology is not a fixed science. It evolves with time and research. It is therefore time to review the interpretations of certain names attributed to certain characters without taking into account the Berber origin of this population. Thus, Akhenaten, a Greek deformation of Anak Adon, was translated as the one who is useful to atone. In fact, Anak Adon means I am, or it is I Adon. Moreover, in the original text of the Torah, when God spoke to Moses, he said to him, that is to say, I am Yahweh your God. This shows once again that the speech of the Egypt of the pharaohs was indeed a measure, given the historical interiority of the Amazigh language over Hebrew. The Talmud confirms the translation of Inkeep by I am, or it is I, and considers it as the word of words. Knowledge of the Amazigh language is an essential tool for the correct pronunciation and understanding of the etymology of the names of places and characters of ancient Egypt. The linguistic analysis that emerges from the work the Berber epic opens new perspectives on the history of the Berbers in relation to ancient Egypt and North Africa as a whole. It shows that the history of Algeria and the Greater Maghreb has its roots in unsuspected depths. By studying ancient Egypt in relation to the Amazigh language, we can better understand our past and appreciate the richness, diversity, and influence of hunter-gatherer tribes who left our lands to become one of the greatest civilizations in human history.